Santa, all I want for Christmas is one more big buck.
That's a good gift to ask for, that's for sure.
You know, here we are, guys. We're in Wyoming still. They're definitely not waiting for Thanksgiving to start putting the Christmas tree up. As you can see, we figured, hey, how fitting is this? You know what? I like Christmas, man. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
So I
well,
mean,
there's a lot of
about
people,
the holiday
there's
season.
a lot of people out there, like couples that I know, that are arguing about when they can put the tree up and stuff. So for all you guys that like decorating early, this one's for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But we have a lot more gifts than what's underneath the Christmas tree. We've got some really good action. Hold on, easy. So the gifts that we've been having in the last couple of days is Justin killed a really nice whitetail the other day.
You can
on
watch
the
that
ground.
show up. That's up right now.
That's live. When's yours coming?
Well, we just told Brandon once we get yours up, I'm up next. So.
Gotcha. So this is my feature?
Yeah, this is your feature. So guys, we're in Wyoming still. It's been a great trip. You know, one of the things that we decided to do this year was to do something different. That was our goal. Actually, to be honest with you, our goal moving forward is to just keep doing different things. Sometimes it's easy to get kind of stuck in a rut, right? And just kind of rut, no point intended, but you know, get stuck and doing the same things over and over. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's hard to leave, you know, some of the prime time hunting back home to go do something different. And
all your stealth cams are blowing up.
Dude, there's no doubt. I mean, we're getting ready to leave, and you know, me and Justin, like, Justin, let's just not look at our wireless stealth cams while we're gone, because it's just going to drive us crazy. And Justin had a big 6-pointer, and Mike Willen ended up shooting one of the bucks that he was chasing, which
How
I
long
know
did
he
that
doesn't care.
pack last of not checking your trail cam?
I think we went right after we said that. We kept looking at it.
There was another pack that everybody else participated in, and that's this right here. That's the mustache. We were supposed to have killing stash. Thankfully, I participated, and I think that's why you killed your buck.
Because I didn't participate?
Because I was there.
Oh, because you were there. Listen, I would look ridiculous if I tried to do anything with this mess. So, you know, I don't have the cool look that Brandon's got, like handlebar mustache. We got to make sure we show a picture of Brandon. I mean, some people got it. I don't got it.
Well, I still feel like I look ridiculous, but even looking ridiculous, sometimes you can luck into some pretty good deer and some pretty awesome hunts. So today, what are we looking at?
Well, we don't want to take away from the hunt, because sometimes we do that too much. But, you know, one thing we don't get a lot, you know, to be able to do a lot is be able to sit down with the guys' hunts, you know, because our team's spread out all over the place. So this is just kind of unique that Paul's here in town. So we're going to jump in tree stand right now with Paul as he leaves Wyoming, heads back to his home state. Let's take a look at how he does. I'll tell you one thing, he never seems to disappoint.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Wyoming. It is 3:30 in the morning, and I'm in the truck headed to Gillette, to the airport. This is actually the first time that I've ever traveled on an airplane to kill a whitetail deer. I'm actually headed back east right now. I have a little bit of a break in between clients, and got some stuff that I got to finish up on the house before winter hits. So headed back east, hopefully going to do some work on the house and kill a couple whitetails. So we'll get there and see what the cameras have to say. I left a bunch of cameras up to take inventory on what's going on, and we're going to get to hunt the best part of whitetail season, right smack in during the rut. So the next couple weeks, that's what I'll be doing. So come with me, and we'll see if we can knock one of these beautiful eastern whitetails down. Be there before we know it. Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to Southeastern Ohio. Back in the old garage here, getting dressed, gonna head out for my first whitetail hunt. So I decided this morning, because of traveling and everything yesterday, I get in and don't really know where any of the deer are or anything. So I'm going to try not to bust anything out of my property. So I'm going to hunt really close to the house. Nice little place where I shot my doe last year with the traditional bow, right over top the pond, pretty close to the house, and shouldn't really bust anything going in or out. But also, if the deer are cruising this morning, there's a good chance that I could see something. So getting dressed here, gonna put my scentlock base layers on, get all dolled up, and head to the woods. Good morning, folks, and welcome to Southeastern Ohio.
It's a beautiful morning here. Leaves are starting to change. I just flew in yesterday. Got up this morning, jumped in the shower, grabbed all the stuff that I thought I needed because I have to remember how to deer hunt again. But anyway, since moving out west, this is my first time home, about 3 or 4 months. Nobody's been living in the house here, so I'm actually hunting pretty close to the house. We've got a really nice, consistent wind. It's blowing out of the south, then it'll suck out of the west, then it'll gust out of the east, and then it'll swirl out of the north. So this is one of those stands that you just kind of got to hunt, and they could come from anywhere. So as long as the wind is going the right way at the right time, we'll have success. If not, it's not going to be good. But I am in the tree. I don't want to blow down through the rest of the property that I'm hunting until it's daylight and I'm able to check some cameras and kind of hunt my way through the cameras. So well, unfortunately, no deer movement this morning. I haven't seen a tail flicker. All right, guys. Well, we're locked this morning, but I'm gonna go check some trail cameras and try to be really quiet because it rained so much last night. It's really, you're not making much noise, and I might sneak up on a deer. You never know. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Southeastern Ohio. Afternoon hunt. Hunted this morning, did not see crap. So, I'm going to go out this evening and hopefully it changes. I looked through a bunch of trail cameras this afternoon, pictures, and 2 really nice deer on this farm. Really nice wide 8-point, and another deer that has a bunch of trash on his like a 3-prong on one side, a split on his brow tine. So that's a deer we're going after. I got some intel from the farmer that they've been going, or he's been seeing a couple of the deer, their bucks, travel the bottom ridge of this one hill. So if they do that again, hopefully I'm in the right position to stick an arrow in them. So when I finish getting dressed here, I'll leave all my scent lock stuff off until I get to the stand, other than my pants. Spray down real quick and get to the woods. So all right, well, this is about as easy as hunting gets. Well, not as easy. Clint Boston has it as easy. I get to drive a Ranger down here, park it behind this trees here. Where I'm going is down through this hayfield, down across a creek and over to the other side. There's a tree stand there. Haven't been in it for a while, but take my time getting up and hopefully kill a big one in there tonight. Beautiful morning, 39 degrees with a heavy fog. And for some reason I just love hunting in fog. I guess I've had some really good encounters in the past. As a matter of fact, in this same area I had an encounter with a giant years ago. Came walking right down this trail behind me to the creek, and unfortunately I think I missed him. Well, I know I missed him. But anyway, I'm hunting over an open field here. It's been mowed, unfortunately. I wish it was thick. But the reason why I'm hunting here is I've got a creek crossing behind me, some thick stuff behind me that the deer bed in. And then a lot of times, these deer will come off the bean field that's up on top of the hill. And you really just can't hunt that bean field in the morning.
They cut it about a week ago, but there's still a lot of beans left on the ground. Well, guys, what a beautiful deer. I actually passed him up right here. He kind of came in and almost worked a scrape at like 26 yards. But I was looking, I thought it was the buck that has the split brows. It's got like a big crown on one side, so I thought it was a shooter, so I got worked up really bad. But anyway, as soon as I saw that it wasn't him, I decided to pass him, but it's a really good deer. Might be the same deer that my wife passed up here last year, but I'm not sure. If it is, then that might be a 4-year-old, because I thought that one last year was a 3-year-old. It is what it is. I'm gonna wait a couple days for the bigger one, but it's a pretty nice deer. Probably one of my harder passes, that's for sure. I skipped a day of hunting because the weather was so nasty yesterday. We got tons of rain and a bunch of wind. The wind has died down to about 10 miles an hour this morning, so it's pretty nice. It's kind of a straight west wind, which is decent for this area. I'm expecting the deer to come from behind the camera. There's a big holler here that a lot of does have been staying in because there was a bean field right here in front of us. Normally this time of year, the bucks cruise through this holler here, and then they wrap around this fence. So I'm about 25 yards from the fence, and there's a couple scrapes right down underneath me that I kicked into the ground, but there's also a real one right up around the corner. So I'm hoping that with all this rain that they come in and work these scrapes on this scrape line here. That's exactly what you want to happen. Does came through, buck came through. The buck came down and worked a scrape at like 20 yards. And I think it's 22 yards. Could have shot him several times. So, we just need him a little bit older and a little bit bigger. So, well, good morning, guys, and welcome back to Southeastern. nice idea, but I don't know if I can really care. I just kind of want to kill a big doe. First buck of the morning. A total of 8 inches, I think. And probably about 8-month-old. Not quite. But anyway, it's a little buck, but at least he's on his feet. He came in, worked his scrape, so hopefully one of the big boys does that. Smokes. Holy smokes. What the heck just happened? Oh my goodness. What the heck just happened? Oh, I hope it made a good shot. It almost looked like I hit him right in the shoulder, but a little bit low. So I think it punched through into the other shoulder. He went about 100 yards, and I seen him just struggling over there. But I haven't heard him crash or anything. That's that big wide 8-point. He came down here, down the fence row. Kind of exactly what I figured, but I was hoping he'd come in and work the scrape. And he didn't. He was just gonna truck right by, so I actually had to stop him before I was even hooked up. Just make him slow down. And then I stopped him. And I got to full draw. And then he went and stopped behind this one little tree that I made my scrape on. Then he starts walking again. I go, man. And then I had to move the camera with my bow. I wasn't zoomed in as much as I wanted to be, but I had just replaced the batteries in my GoPro. Replaced the batteries in my GoPro and shoved a new battery in and turned the sucker on. As he was coming down the fence line. Why is it always so crazy with me? This is when the shakes begin, that's for sure. I'm gonna get my binos and see if I can see him anywhere over there. Alright guys, I just got down on the ground. There's my tree stand up behind me there. And what I'm overlooking is this corner of this bean field that they cut a week and a half ago, I believe. And there's still a lot of beans in it, left on the ground and stuff. But I also came in here and I cut a bunch of branches down, and then I made some mock scrape. So there's a mock scrape right here that little buck came to work this morning. Broke down a licking branch so that he would come down. Well, when that buck came down this fence row here, think he was actually going to come right down to these scrapes and stuff, but I was putting a GoPro battery in my camera and moved around a lot, and I think he heard something, so he ended up jumping the fence behind me, but he still cut this corner here. And cool thing about this is that I did put a trail camera up on this fence row before I left, well, before we moved to Wyoming about 3.5 months ago, and got some really cool pictures of a couple really nice deer. And he was one of the big ones that was in this bean field this whole summer, and then into fall, and then got a couple pictures of him the other day. So the stealth camera definitely helped out today, because you know, I'd be hunting probably somewhere else. Just, no, I'm not saying there's not bucks everywhere out here, which there is sometimes, but when you're hunting them, they're hard to find, that's for sure. So. And I already found blood right here on his first bound. There's already really good blood, and it's got bubbles in it, which is awesome. Good lung blood. Really good lung blood there. And there's blood on the other side. Oh my goodness, I can see him from here. He didn't go that far, actually. I thought I might have seen him tip over there, but there he is. Oh, there's my arrow. There's a XXX, Luminoc, and a dead deer. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. That's a big deer. Oh my. Oh. Alright guys, well, I've got him propped up as good as I can here on this hillside. Just a beautiful, beautiful, mature southeastern Ohio whitetail. And that's what I came back home for, you know. My new home is Wyoming, and I jumped on a plane about 4 days ago and flew back here just to chase these guys and work on my house, obviously. That's actually one of the most important things here on this trip. So I had a gap in between clients, about 2 weeks, and Dustin and Rich said, you know, might as well go do something that you like to do and get some work on the house done. So got out here, worked on the house the other day, but wanted to hunt whitetails as much as I could, try to get one killed, and then really focus on getting the house done. But anyway, checked some trail cameras when I got in, and that I had left there before I went out west, and sure enough, there was a couple decent bucks on it. This was one of them. So I kind of knew where I needed to spend my time, you know, and that's a big plus. If you can figure out where you need to hunt instead of bouncing around, you've gained several days on getting one of these. But you know, I just gotta thank my wife and thank everybody involved in my life that makes this possible. You know, Dustin and Rich, obviously, like I said, my wife, and my little son, who doesn't know any better yet, that he's being patient with me. But anyway, really got to thank the Lord through this, though. You know, he's the one that created us and created these animals, and gave us the ability to chase them. So I'm gonna get my tag on this sucker and get him drug out of here. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this hunt. You know, it's everyone is unique and everyone is different. So beautiful, beautiful 8-point here, and I am happy, 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 happy. Until next time, guys, bow hunt or die.
Well, I tell you, Paul does not disappoint. I mean, Paul, to be able to pack up your bags, leave home, go to a completely different state, and I'm not just talking for a hunting trip now. Right. I'm talking about your whole family. You've moved out here to Wyoming, you know. Yeah, big change. Lisa's right over there right now. Your baby's over here. You know, congratulations. You just closed on your first home out here, which is exciting. But, you know, to be able to then jump back on a plane, go home, and to be able to have the kind of success that you had, right? That's intriguing, right? There's a lot of people that are going to think that's cool.
You know, a lot of things had to line up. You know, for one, you have to have family and friends that make that happen, or make it possible, right? And also, you know, another thing that was a little bit tough is flying back and having all the right gear with the camera and stuff like that. And I was able to get everything together, get back there. A couple things, you know, that helped with the Ohio hunt is that early season you guys saw that you know, I went out and put up a bunch of stealth cams and was able to put them in different places, put lithium batteries in there. I hate spending money for those. I usually just run the cheap ones.
It's worth it though.
But it got back, and thankfully, you know, there were some good deer that had been there, and that doesn't happen to me a lot. You know, a lot of times I'm checking trail cameras and just hoping that something shows up, but I was able to get back and there's 2 good deer on camera, and then you kind of get an idea of where you need to hunt. So that's what kind of started it out.
And you know, Paul, I mean, trail camera data doesn't lie, right? I mean, the reality is, you know, listen, sometimes I think we can do more harm than good, right? I mean, sometimes I think you're better off getting those cameras positioned, and honestly, sometimes staying out can be one of the best.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened, because it's hard to check your trail cameras every day when you're, you know, 23 miles away, 23 hours of drive away.
I mean, the remote cameras are great, but the reality is still, even with the technology we have today, I mean, there's points where there are dead areas where you're not going to, down in some of those valleys and stuff where the wireless cams don't work. But the reality is, you put the cameras out, you stay out, you go in at the right time. I think you even mentioned in the video at one point you went in on a real windy day to, you know, to pull one of your cameras. And and listen, I do that all the time. I look for those rainy days. I look for those nasty days where those deer can't hear you. You know, where you can slip in, pull your data. And the reality is, not always is the data perfect, but at least it gives you a reason to say, you know what, do I want to hunt this day, or do I want to move somewhere else?
Especially when your time's limited. You know, you only have a certain amount of time, and I think I said it 1,000 times about working on my house, and I've been doing this for two years now, working on a house. Don't ever renovate your house, especially when you have a kid. But anyway, you know, when you don't have much time, you need to be in the right places at the right time. And that just gave me a pointer on where to be at the right time. And then you have to put in the tree tag.
Well, that's a monster buck. I mean, here he comes. I mean, one of the favorite things is seeing that. Oh, I just love those cold mornings. Oh, it's the best. But man, here that buck comes. And I think one teaching point we want to mention is, you know, and I've been guilty of this. Sometimes I just do the and you know, and then you're like, you know, you're pegged. You know, these whitetails are so good at, when they hear a rattle, they hear a grunt, they are good at picking that spot, and that can really screw you. You did a real nice job.
So a couple things you can see with the overview camera, the second angle, and I felt really good about this at the end of it, you know, is as the deer's coming in, self-filming is tough, right? Hunting's tough, you know, tough enough, and then you add that. But the deer usually come through, especially during the rut, so fast sometimes, right? And he came into the first window, and instead of letting out that big, you know, to stop him, I wasn't even hooked up, didn't have the camera all the way focused on him. So my first sound to get him to stop is just, you know, to get his attention, just to barely think he heard something. So I did a psst, and he stops. Now I knew he wasn't going to stop for very long, because he, you know, he stopped, looked around, didn't see anything. I was able to get clipped up, hook up. And then the next one, I still wasn't 100% ready, but I was able to go psst, again. This time I get to full draw when he's looking over the side of me, and started aiming. Now, big thing also is, you know, when you get that aiming process, you know, to go through with that aiming process instead of pulling it, or if they start walking to try to throw an arrow, you know, that happens to everybody. And thankfully I was able to keep my cool. But then the next one, once I was at full draw, ready to kill him, I was able to do the get his attention. Then he stops. You guys get to see him. You know, he stops for 15 seconds. Unfortunately, the tree's in the way, right? But that was my scrape tree, so I didn't want to knock the whole thing down. Luckily, he stopped one more time in the next window, and I was able to make a good shot. But not after I had to push the camera over. So I pulled a Todd Graff there.
We saw that.
Pulled a Todd Graff and did that. So,
you know, well, listen, guys, we're not going to bore you to death with tons more talking. I mean, the important thing is, Paul, you know what? Just from the day that we've met you, you've always just really have performed awesome. I mean, you do some great, you get out there, and I mean, it's awesome to watch you hunt. I love it. And I tell you what, the next hunt you're going to be able to see after this one airs is Paul and I have a chance to go out here in Wyoming and, you know, just chase some whitetails around in this country. It was just a great hunt. So with that being said, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. In the meantime, bow hunt or die. Listen, don't give up now. It's only November. It's only November. It's an amazing year.
Some of the biggest bucks are moving right now.
Some of the biggest bucks are killed in the later part of November, because that's when those big boys know that the local does have been bred, and now they're starting to push around and look for those other ones. They're going to expand their boundaries. So now is when you could be sitting in a tree and that giant of lifetime walks by. So bow hunt or die.
Give it time, hopefully they start moving again, but until then, I'm shooting squirrels.